your doggy doing, Candace?
Is it going?
She ate
Not yet.
a tiny piece of something. She went to grab it, took it from you, but
There's a delay.
does he start talking when it goes live?
Nah, a little icon pops up.
She's a lot better, more alert and everything like that. I don't know that she can smell. I think that's a problem. I'm giving her anti-nausea medication.
She didn't get COVID with the seizures, did she? Pardon? She didn't get COVID with the seizures.
I don't know how.
Because of
She
smelling.
hasn't been out socializing.
I know, but on your hands. Your hands. Anyway, good evening, everybody, and for the record, welcome to a special meeting of April 26, 2021. We'll start with our usual call to order. Candace, please.
Candace Bouchard?
Todd Archulashi?
Melissa Bird.
Josh Kelly.
Candy Perez.
Sheila Sedlak.
Jack Bork. Steven Sedlak.
Linda Grappo.
Please join us for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we were asked to have this special meeting tonight by our finance director and the town manager, and it has to do with two financing items, but one is just a discussion, which is the item 3, but the item 2, which is for the water financing, not bonds, right? Water financing. So for the water financing, and this is the water and sewer chairman came before us on the meeting, the first meeting in April, discussed all the information about why the water plant had to have, some tanks fixed, some mains fixed. Bruce explained the financing on it, how we have a really low rate, and we also may have some of it forgiven when we get towards the end of it. And then the more important thing is that every little detailed piece of this is online on the town's website. So if anybody's watching or wants to see a drawing, wants to see pictures, wants to see the financing, all of that, it's all online. So this authorization is, remember, it's just basically the town of Winchester giving its like a backup signature to the Waterworks Authority, because we don't have any decision-making with the Waterworks as to which projects they pick or if they're gonna go forward. But in order to get financing, they need the full faith and credit of the town of Winchester. So I guess we're like a co-signer, like sometimes parents do for their kids when they, buy a car or something like that. So, Bruce or Josh, do you want to add any of the details for the resolution that you're going to ask us to approve?
To reiterate, yes, it is because the Winstead Waterworks and the Water Sewer Commission are not legal entities, and the ultimate lender on these project notes will be the State of Connecticut Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund, and they require the town to lend its full faith and credit to secure the repayment on these notes. And that's why the question is before the selectmen, so that you can legally authorize this referendum question to take place on Saturday, May 29th, in conjunction with the fiscal 22 budget referendum question.
So you want to go through the resolution a little bit, because I think there might be a question down there.
Yeah, in fact, I think one of the requirements today is to actually read the resolution in the meeting. So if you'd like, I could do that.
You want to have us ask our questions, or?
Yeah, so happy to answer any questions at this point, address any questions. Yes?
I just have a question. I read the resolution, and during the week, also the minutes from the Planning and Zoning Commission came through, and I was reading, and again, they discussed the Wallen Street applicant and tank removal replacement. And it was, I understand that they want to put a new tank in for little visibility. And the question was asked by one of the board members if the existing tank would be refurbished. And the town engineer said there are no immediate plans for the existing tank. And once the tanks are in place, the existing tank will likely be refurbished for something other than a water storage tank, or will be demolished and removed from the property. But at that point, according to these minutes, nothing's in place, but the resolution says replace it, removal of the water storage tank located at Wallens Hill. So one, I guess before anything, it needs to be clarified, is it going to remain?
So that, my understanding is that tank is over 40 years old and has, it has been taken out of service because it no longer meets the standards, and it's not possible to refurbish it, so it will be dismantled.
So the planning and zoning minutes need to be revised? Is that
They are
what-
going to, they are going, in the meeting today, a little bit later, they are going to actually adopt a formal resolution supporting the projects. And I think that in that respect, I'll alert them to the fact that their minutes may need to be amended on
Okay,
that.
thank you.
So if he needs to read it, Sheila?
Yeah, were you gonna read it, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm happy to read it.
No, but he has to, we can't like waive the reading?
I think you can motion to
You-
waive the
You
reading.
do need
You-
a motion to waive it.
You can do that, you just need to, I believe, attach the formal resolution into your minutes
Correct.
if you
Yes,
waive the
those
reading.
will go in my minutes.
I mean, we could torture
Do
you
wanna
if you'd
waive
like.
it?
I'm sorry,
I said we could torture you if you'd like, and have you read it. I mean, you could go through quickly and then we'll waive the, I make a motion to waive the entire reading of the document and have our finance director give us a synopsis of each of the points.
Second?
All in favor? Okay, thanks. Can you give us a synopsis of, just go through quick?
yes. The amount being asked to be appropriated is $6.2 million. It consists of 3 projects. The replacement of water mains in the downtown area, as Tebow Avenue, Greenwoods Avenue, Center Street, Case Avenue, and then Holabird Avenue. It involves also the replacement and removal of the water storage tank located on Wallens Hill, and an addition of a water storage tank to be located at the Crystal Lake Water Treatment Plant, and that is to allow for refurbishment of the existing water storage tank at the Crystal Lake Treatment Plant, which is due to happen, but you can't do it without taking it offline, so you need a backup storage plant. So these funds have been estimated by engineering plans and are the cost for these projects, and they are qualified by the State Department of Health for funding under the State Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund at low interest rates, 2% for 25 years. And these projects will qualify based on the town's demographics and economy, that they will qualify for loan forgiveness amounts. 25%, we believe, at a minimum, and possibly as much as 50%, which would assist in repaying the amount of the notes required in order to fund the projects. So it's really a unique opportunity for the town to get good value and have the state participate in funding of these projects. So the $6.2 million is the total of the three projects. It's an estimate, and this allows for the projects to go forward, for the Water and Sewer Commission to use interim financing until the projects are complete, and then to put these projects to the loan fund, revolving loan fund, have them paid for, and then reimburse or repay the interim financing or any cash used by the water department to get the projects complete. And then those will be converted into 25-year notes. We anticipate that the three projects will be started and completed at different times, and each project will carry its own note from the state revolving loan fund. So at the end of the three projects, there'll be three loans. They'll all be the responsibility of the Winchester Waterworks to pay off, and those will be paid by the water rates and the revenues by the from the customers of the Winchester Waterworks. It's important to, as a distinction, is that there will be no property tax dollars that'll be used to support this project, as the Winchester Waterworks is completely supported by the water rates that are now currently in place.
And you believe the current water rates will carry this for now?
Yes, a couple years ago, the Waterworks paid off made the final payment on a water bond, and the amount of that debt service, which runs about $260,000 a year, is being used currently in the water fund for capital projects. But once this projects get approved, that amount will be used to service these debts, and the current water rates won't have to change at all for these projects.
And these projects also support the residents and the businesses in downtown and the industrial park. So it's really important for the town as a whole that they're supported and we can continue an infrastructure redevelopment that's so sorely needed.
So if you have any more questions, you can ask them now, or if not, I just need somebody to do the resolution motion. That's not as long. On page 3. I can read it too if you want.
Need somebody to read it?
Yeah, go ahead, you got a good voice for radio.
Resolved that the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Winchester hereby adopts the resolution presented to this meeting approving an appropriation of $6,200,000 for costs related to replacement and improvement to water mains and water storage tanks of the Winchester Waterworks, including the removal and replacement of water mains generally located at T-Bolt Avenue, Greenwoods Avenue, Center Street, Case Avenue, Holabird Avenue, replacement and removal of the water storage tank located at Warren's Hill, the addition of a water storage tank to be located at Crystal Lake Water Treatment Plant. The appropriation may be spent for acquisition, design, construction, and installation costs, equipment, furnishings, materials, utilities, relocation cost, engineering fees, consultant fees, administrative costs, legal fees, net interest on borrowing and other financing costs, and other expenses related to the project or its financing, and approving the authorization of $6,200,000 bonds and notes to finance the appropriation. A copy of the resolution shall be attached to the minutes of this meeting and made a part of. Further resolved, that the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Winchester hereby approve the setting of a date of the dates for the special town meeting and referendum to act on the appropriation and borrowing authorization approved above, as reflected in the notice of such special town meeting and referendum presented to this meeting, which notice, to the extent of its reference to the aforesaid appropriation and borrowing authorization, is hereby approved. A copy of the notice shall be attached to the minutes of this meeting and made a part of. Further resolved, that said project be referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a report pursuant to Section 8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes. Further resolved, that in her discretion, the town clerk is authorized to prepare and distribute a concise explanatory text regarding the referendum question on the appropriation and borrowing authorization approved above, and that in his or her discretion, because it should be hers, in his discretion, the town manager is authorized to prepare and distribute additional explanatory material regarding such questions. Such text and explanatory material to be the subject to the approval of the town attorney and to be prepared and distributed in accordance with Section 9-369B of the General Statute of the Connecticut, revision 1958, as amended.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions on this? Again, for everybody that may be watching, or Kurt writing, or anybody else writing, remember, this is all on the website. All the information, this resolution will also be there, if it's not already. So anybody has any questions, of course, they can call the Water and Sewer Chairman, and that number is also listed on the website. It's basically call Public Works, and they will get a hold of the chairman, and the chairman will call you back. Okay, all in favor? Okay, unanimous. There you go, Bruce.
Thank you.
Or the Waterworks, I should say, not you. And the item 3 now is, Bruce wanted to make sure that he let the Board of Selectmen know what his decision is regarding the Hinsdale interim financing, because he met with Bob and Josh, and I'm not sure who else he met with, Bruce, but I know that you put a lot of analysis into this and a lot of thought into it. And so he just wanted to share it with us. There's nothing we have to do, because the the vote that we had authorizes them to put in place interim financing. And, but they did do their due diligence, but Bruce still wanted to make us aware of what they've chosen. So Bruce or Josh, either one.
So, part of the referendum that was approved in September of 2019 allowed for town manager and town finance director to provide interim financing for the Hinsdale renovation project before it was completed. And so we have undertaken some research into the options available to the town to do this. And we've provided you with an interim financing analysis, and just wanted you to be aware that our recommendation is that we pursue a variable rate, non-revolving line of credit from our bank relationship with Bank of America. The primary reasons is that it's the most economical in terms of costs, and it is also it can be closed. This facility can be active sooner than the other facilities that are available to us. And with the signing of the contract this last week with the contractor and the Board of Education, that this will allow us to begin providing reimbursing the costs of the contractor as soon as he presents his first invoice. So that's the primary reason why we're electing are recommending this. And we alert you to this because once we get the actual financing agreement, it will have to be approved by the Board of Selectmen to authorize the town manager to sign it. So, once, as long as you have no objections, we will authorize Bank of America to draft the agreement, and that puts us on the hook for some legal fees, and we wanted only to pay those fees once, and as opposed to having multiple agreements drafted. So that's why we're here, just to explain that recommendation to you. And again, it's a recommendation that I'm supporting, as well as our town treasurer, Cynthia Ryans, and town manager, Josh Kelly, and Bob Geiger had also reviewed this, and he also approved of that, so.
So does anybody have any questions for Bruce on it?
Yes.
Bruce, just to clarify, 'cause I'm just looking for clarification here. Sometimes variable rates have ceilings to them. Does this have a ceiling?
It does not.
So it could go up 5, 7%?
It could go up substantially if market conditions were there. And the caveat to that, or is the alternative, is if it gets too expensive, then we can go to a fixed rate bond anticipation note and pay off that agreement. So we have
We
the
have that
ability.
ability to move.
Yes, we could go to another source and where the rate is fixed, and we can get that locked in and pay off the one if the variable rate agreement is not working for us.
And at this juncture, can you just mention again, the variable rate versus the bank rate, what are we saving?
So,
That's on one of these pages?
yes, it's on the last page.
Yes.
So,
And I'd just like to get it public. that's all.
right. So we estimate the cost for the variable rate non-revolving line of credit to be over the 2-year life of the agreement, because we expect that the project will be completed within 2 years, to be, and this includes interest fees, bank fees, commitment fees, legal fees with bond counsel, financial advisor fees, internal cost to execute, net of some interest earnings, to be just a little, $93,100. Based on the quote for a fixed rate bank loan, that would be $177,000 for a facility that would work over the same time frame. The variable rate non-revolving line of credit has the benefit is we only need to draw down the amount of funds we need to pay off the contractor, whereas a fixed rate loan, you'd have to bring down the entire $10 million right away and start paying interest on it, even though you wouldn't need the money all up front. So that's the primary savings.
So basically, we
Source
save
of savings.
$83,000 doing it this way.
I'm saying, sorry?
$83,000 is the difference, right?
Yes.
77 and 100, 177
Yes,
and 93.
it's about $84,000.
It's a lot of savings.
Any other questions? Okay, then we'll notify the bank to go ahead and make that, drop that legal agreement so that we can review it with you and then execute it.
And just real quick too, although it's too early to say for sure, it looks like we'll be under, the cost will be under what was projected.
Yes, based on the quote given by the low bidder, yes.
We still gotta get through the project and change orders and stuff, but.
Yes,
it
right.
Does look, if it goes nicely, that it'll be a good amount under what was anticipated.
So can I just address, go back to item number 2 for a follow-up?
Sure.
Okay, so whenever we have a referendum question, which has a lot of legal language in it, we like to provide to the public a explanatory text. And I forwarded to you a draft of that late this afternoon. I have hard copies here. but it is a text that simplifies the questions, I guess, that someone would find in the legal language of the referendum. And this explanatory text has been reviewed and approved by the Water and Sewer Commission. It's also been reviewed by Town Council and Bond Council. And the requirement for this explanatory text is that it not advocate for the question either for or against. It's just factual. And that it will provide information to the public before the quiet period begins. There's a 30-day quiet period that would start this Thursday, whereby no town resources or water and sewer resources could be spent to push or influence the vote on this question one way or the other. But we just want to get this out so that it's fairly clear that the primary points in this referendum question is that no property tax dollars are involved in repaying these loans, that the current level of water rates is sufficient to service the debt for these loans, and that they'll be financed at fairly attractive, or at a 2% interest rate over 25 years, which is the way that the Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund works, and that there's the expectation by the Water and Sewer Commission that a certain portion, at least 25% of the cost of these projects would be forgiven when the notes are put into place. So that's part of the program by the Department of Health to keep drinking water resources preserved surrounding this around the state. So there is a possibility that as much as 50% of these costs would be forgiven, but we're not putting that information in this explanatory text because it's not a certainty. So it's not it's a possibility, it's not a probability. So we like to be able to distribute this and make it available to the public and have the selectmen authorize this this explanatory text.
Bruce, in addition to making this on the website, putting this on the website, at the town meeting, of course, have copies.
Yes.
But at the referendum, can we put up a poster with some of this information so that people who have not attended the town meeting and come in to vote on the budget, and they see this question of another $6,200,000, we need some explanation, very visible, during the referendum on the 29th. Can we
Yeah,
make sure that there's
I'm
posters
trying
up?
to, I think there are some stipulations on what you can put at the polling place,
Right,
but we would do whatever is allowed by law.
right.
Yeah, this isn't advocating, this is just explaining, so.
Yes, I understand. So I think
It
during
can be
the,
only on the outside walls.
I think,
In the hallway.
Well, even in
In
the
the
hallway, just,
In the hallway.
No, it's in the hallway, you can.
yeah. Yeah, I
But
don't mean
will
in
double
the
check on
voting
that. It's
Yeah.
been a while.
location itself in the polls.
Right,
Right.
just like we do for the charter
But
revision,
you know,
anything
people are
else.
walking in,
Right,
they're gonna see this on the ballot. Anytime you see a $6 million thing on the ballot, especially when we're voting on the town budget at the same time, we don't wanna lose either of them.
it can also be put on the front, where you post the agendas outside in the white. I think we did that for the charter too.
Yes.
Post the
Yeah, that'll
page.
be out there too.
This is also on, it's also on social media, because we have somebody working with Waterworks to do this. And that's why the website's up the way it is. Social media post went out this morning, went out last week with links. They'll continue to go out. This text will go, once it's on the website, it'll get linked to it.
Well, you know, people will go in and see, vote on the budget and then see this. And reminding people to vote on the question, is there a certain number of voters we need on this referendum?
I don't believe so.
That's not required.
It's only charter revisions at certain times of the year. Steve?
Can the Water and Sewer Commission advocate for the passage?
The Water and Sewer Commission at the public meeting on May 25th will
Yeah.
be there to answer any questions. So we'll address the entire, all three projects, provide detail to the public, be able to answer their questions, but again, indicate what the facts are according to what's in this explanatory text.
I
Because
guess
it's
my
gonna-
thought was, bills go out quarterly. Can anything be put in the billing that,
Without,
They already
I
did.
just got my bill
It wasn't in there,
last
Bruce?
weekend.
wow,
Was it there, Bruce? Because we talked about this like
Yes,
a month and a half ago.
yeah,
Yeah, there was no
I
explanation.
wasn't that close to that. I thought they would put something in there, but
We,
they may need to do a separate
we
mailing.
were very specific about that.
Yeah, I thought when I opened my bill, looking at it, no information about
I
it.
thought there was at least gonna be some information with the website on there. Because we talked about all that, we're working with, her name's Kate Benza, and she works with the Little Red Barn as their social media coordinator, and that's her business line anyway. So what we did is we had a meeting with, online with her and Bruce and John Massacott to talk about what the information stream would be, to make sure that when we got to the issue on May 29th, that there wasn't gonna be any person that would say, I didn't know about it. So one of the things that we had an FAQ list made up, we populated, Pam helped with that, populated the website. And one of the pieces that was, one of the most important pieces was the water bill.
Send it out with a water bill, remember?
Well, that's what we had discussed,
Yep.
so.
I thought they were going out this week, but I guess I missed that, so
Well,
we'll have to.
isn't that the fault of the water?
The water and, again, we don't have,
Anything to do with it?
we don't oversee the Waterworks, or they're separate too. Waterworks is separate from the sewer commission, although they all meet together. But they're two separate entities. And the reason that I met with them and made sure that we tried to do all of this work on information is because I have learned over time, if you don't get all the information out there, like Jackie, you were saying, and Steve, and everybody that always talks about that people would have questions, and when people have questions and they don't know what it is, they default to no. So that's why we wanted to have the information out. We had talked about having the FAQ list in the water bill, or at least a reference printed on the water bill itself that referred it back to the town website, or a phone number to call to actually get the information mailed to you.
So they'll have to authorize a separate mailing out to the water customers.
Yes.
I mean, is it possible to send out another mailing to all water users?
That's what he
Yes, they
just
will.
said.
Yeah, they will
Yeah?
do that, yeah.
Let's do that. Get it out.
Well, again, that's up to them. The intention was all that.
Mhm.
Anyhow. So, did we approve this yet? Yes, sorry, text.
I'd like to be able to
So we have to make a
indicate
motion.
that,
Yes.
that you've approved
didn't do
this
that.
explanatory text.
I don't think we did. So I'll make a motion that we approve the explanatory text for the Waterworks referendum vote on Saturday, May 29th, 2021, as presented by the finance director.
Second?
Thank you. Any more questions for him on this? All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. Candace, do you want to, you had mentioned that you wanted to recognize an
Yes.
individual in town?
I just want to recognize Barry Beecher passed away recently. He used to work for the Winchester Fire Department. He was also a trainer, so we just lost him earlier this week.
Okay, thank you. I don't think there's anything else. Bruce or Josh, do you have anything else?
will we adjourn?
Thank you, Melissa, with the second. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
Wait, let me put some signatures here.
Okay. Well, before you all leave, Sheila needs our
Like to
John
get
Hancock.
signatures.
I've already done it.
Oh, no, let's all come in individually.
It's
And
more
no
fun
show.
that way, right, Candace?
Exactly. Lock the doors.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, electric bill payments. Thank you.
Rents for our chairs and
Are we anywhere?
Yep. Any on these lines?
oh, yay!
Here's our vacation money.
That's our vacation, $76.